Good morning and welcome to Peace Out, where we are all learning together to peace out. And I've had so much practice in the last few days, back and forth to the ER with Chris and stuff, and sleepless nights. I've had lots of practice. I cannot say I've been totally successful, but I can say I'm making progress, right? I'm learning that God's got me, right? So no matter what, I was thinking of a scripture. This is not the devotion. I'm already off. I know that's okay. Sleep deprivation. Stay with me here. But in Jeremiah, there's a scripture that says, pray for the peace of the country where you were taken captive. And I always thought, what an odd scripture, right? But God's like, when you're taken captive, because that's what happened during Jeremiah's time, is they were taken captive. Actually, Daniel that we read about, a lot, we talk about Daniel a lot, the three Hebrew children, those captives came during the time of Jeremiah and were part of fulfilling the prophecies that God had about Israel being taken captive. It was Daniel and those three Hebrew children were taken. But Jeremiah was telling the people of God, he's going, when you're taken captive, because they refuse to listen to God, right? When you're taken captive, and let me just throw this in there, when we don't listen to God, when we don't let peace reign, there's these different repercussions that can happen, right? We become captive to doubt. We become a captive to fear. We become a captive to fill in the blank, right? When we're not able to apply the word and things, right? And so, but God was saying, when you are taken captive, pray for the peace of the city where you are captive. Why? Because when that city has peace, because it's captive, you have peace. I was like, man, that's kind of like peeling an onion there. That's a whole lot of pieces, working pieces there, right? P-I-E-C-E pieces, right? Not P-E-A-C-E pieces. But it's like God promised them peace, even though they were, in a sense, being punished. They were having some consequences for not following God, right? And even in that, God was telling them how to have peace. That's amazing to me, right? That right in the middle of their being obstinate, they were being rebellious. They were saying, no, we don't want to follow God. We want to do something else. We don't want to listen to what you've got to say, Jeremiah. We don't care what God says. We're going to do it our way. And even in the middle of that, God gave them a way to have peace. That just blows my mind that God cared that much about his people, and he cared that much about them having his peace. No matter what happened, whether their days went good, whether their days went bad, even taken into captivity, he made a way for them to experience his peace. He had a plan. He always has a plan. And that's why the scripture I want to share this morning is so cool, because I've gone back and I've been meditating. I've been spending my time in Psalm 121 with the daily devotions for caregivers, the blogger Keep Up for Caregivers. And so this one stuck with me for the last 2 or 3 days. And it's verse 2. Well, let's see, verse 1, it says, I will lift my eyes to the hills from whence comes my help, or is that where my help comes from? And see, this is an ascension psalm. They're headed to Jerusalem, and they're looking at Jerusalem, and it's surrounded by, the mountains. Mount Zion is there, and all these significant places are there. And so the psalmist is saying, is that where my help comes from? All these mountains. Now, there's another scripture that says that even as the mountains are around Jerusalem, that's how God is around his people. That's a pretty cool thought. We could run with that one today too, right? That's a pretty good one. And so he says, is that where my help comes from though? I'm coming up on Jerusalem. I'm coming up on this annual journey to worship God, to obey God, and to participate in corporate worship and bring our sacrifices to God, bring our tithes to the temple. Is this where my help comes from? He says, my help comes from the Lord. My help comes from God. Now get this. And then the next phrase is what grabbed me this week, because it was like the psalmist, and it doesn't say if it's David or not. We kind of always attribute it to David, but this may have been written before David's time, Yeah, it might have been Moses. It could have been Asaph. It could have been anybody. They're coming on their annual journey to Jerusalem. They're coming purposefully to meet with God, and that right there is preachable. But I won't, because this is just a morning devotion. But you might find it on YouTube later, right? Okay, so he says he's coming to meet with God, and he says, are the mountains, the actual mountains, where I get my help? Is my help coming from making this annual trek to Jerusalem? And he says, no, my help comes from God. My help literally comes from God. The God, not little g God, the big G God. My help comes from God. And then he has this phrase as if he's reminding himself, because it doesn't really even have anything to do. It's just talking about God in this passage, right? He says, my help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. And it was like the psalmist was going, I don't have a little g, little God, golden God over here on the counter that can't talk, that can't see, that can't experience, that can't feel, that can't hear me. I have God, the maker of heavens and earth, the heavens and the earth. And and so it was like he was reminding himself, it's not just any God that the pagans came up with. It's not just any God that the world comes up with. It's not just an idol that I made, fashioned with my own hands, which never made sense to me, but we do it all the time. Anyway, it's God who made heaven and earth. That's the one who's helping me. That's the one who is walking through time with me. The one who made this self-sustaining ecosystem that perpetuates and just continues to grow, continues to live, continues to thrive. Just almost, if you think about that continuum there, it's almost like it just expresses the heartbeat of God over and over. The trees and the plants, they begin to grow. They put off oxygen, the stuff we need. And humans, we breathe out what they need. And the rain falls and it waters the ground, and so it grows, and so then it produces more, and then it makes a seed, and then so now there's more. It's like the very heartbeat of God. And he's going, that God, that was that creative, that's that magnificent, that's that powerful, that God is my help. Wow. I can peace out with that thought. Can you? I hope so. I'm going to be thinking about that all day, because that's an amazing, amazing thing, that God is my help, that God hears me. He even hears, he's so intently tuned into us that he gets all those emotions from that last sigh you just heaved. He gets all of those feelings in every little tear that leaks out of your eye. He is so intently tuned in to you. He gets you. That God, the creator that made all of this, loves us that much. And that's why we can peace out. Grab a book of the week. The book of the week this week is 21 Days. It's only available on Amazon, or if you email me. So I took down the website. And there's a link at the bottom of the live. You can buy me a coffee if you like these devotions, enjoy the devotions, or want to support the printing work that's going on in Pakistan, which is blowing my mind. This one is so close to being printed. And I'll have an announcement about this one hopefully this week, right? Have a great day, you guys. Peace out, because the big G God has got you covered. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.